What's up everybody, NFX here with another tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to talk about a method to use to improve your vocals before you put them into a mix. And I'm talking about vocals that you yourself or someone has recorded, and then it's your responsibility to somehow mix it into a beat. You really want to make sure you get the vocal in a pretty good quality and prepare it for the mix. And in order to do that, I have a couple techniques that I like to use that I'm going to share with you. Now, you might find other techniques work better for you, or especially if, depending on the genre of music that you're concerned with. But I think that what I'm going to show you is kind of a generic method that just gets the vocals ready in a clean state, and then you can go ahead and tweak it even more beyond what I do. So let me just go ahead and begin. The first thing I want to say about recording vocals is that if you're recording them yourself, obviously you want to try to record them in a room that's dead. And by dead I mean that it doesn't have a lot of echo or reflected sounds, like what you might hear in a bathroom. If possible, get in a room that's as dead as you can. You have probably noticed, if you've ever seen anyone recording in a studio, the vocals are usually done in a vocal booth, and that's because it's very controlled in there, and it's insulated in a way that makes the room dead, so that all you get are the vocals from the performer and not anything else. And that's really what the goal is to try to get a good clean vocal with nothing else, because once you have that, you can add anything you want later. If you wanted to add reverb or echo or compression or whatever, you can do all that, but without the good clean vocal to begin with, you're already at a disadvantage. Now, if you're not the one recording the vocal, there are still some techniques you can use to help clean up a vocal. And actually, that's what I'm going to show you in this tutorial. A buddy of mine, an MC out of Worcester, Mass. His name is Nightmare, and he recorded something and he sent it to me, and basically to get my opinion on it, and I gave him my opinion, but I asked him if I could use that particular acapella in a tutorial coming up, and he said sure, so that's what I have. So this particular file that he sent me, you can see that it's got kind of some lead-in dead space, which is where the beat started here, and there was an intro, and then he didn't drop his vocals till later on, and that's why you see the dead space. But you'll see in a minute how we're going to use that to our advantage. So if we listen to the vocal currently, I'll just let you listen to a few lines of it so you can get a feel for what it is right now, the quality and everything that it is right now. So let's begin.
I swear these fake grab cats fuck around with genetics, cosmetically cloning other MCs, just pathetic.
Okay, so it's good. It's actually recorded pretty clean and everything. And if you look at the waveform, you can see the waveform's pretty consistent. I mean, there's not a lot of great dips in there. There's a few here and there, but overall it's pretty even. So it's not a bad recording. But we can improve on it a little bit. And here's what we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove some noise from the vocal. Now, you may not hear any. If I play this again.
I swear these fake grab cats fuck around with genetics, cosmetically cloning other MCs, just pathetic.
So, I don't hear it personally right now either, but there is some noise in there, and I'm going to show you what that noise is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and normalize this, and normalizing just means it's going to increase the volume of everything until the highest peak hits whatever percent. So in this waveform, this peak right here looks like it's the highest. So what it's going to do is it's going to start increasing the volume until that peak hits the top. And then it's going to stop. And wherever everything else ends up, it's going to increase by the same amount. That's where it's going. That's what it's going to leave us with. And then you can see definitely here this one, this peak hit the top, and everything else is kind of bigger. So now it's louder, and now we can work with it a little bit more. But what I want to do is I want to show you this first part here. This first part is the part where the microphone was turned on, but it wasn't recording anything. In other words, he hadn't started rapping yet, but what it was recording, because you can maybe see if we zoom in, there are a few little bumps in there. What he was recording is the sound of the room. And with a tool like Adobe Audition, we can use that to our advantage. And the way we're going to do that is I'm going to go into Effects, Noise Reduction, and then I'm going to say Capture Noise Reduction Profile. And Capture Noise Reduction Profile, basically what that means is I've selected the room noise, this little bit of noise, and actually in order for you to hear what that noise is, I'm gonna increase that so you can hear exactly what that noise is. Now it's very exaggerated now, but listen. So I can hear maybe the fan from the computer. I can hear what sounds like some kind of a radio or some kind of talking way off in the background. And then I could even hear some movement of the microphone. Maybe he was, maybe Nightmare was bringing the mic to the right position or doing whatever. But I can hear that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo that amplification for a minute so we're back to the normal thing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture that noise profile. So I'm going to go, once again, Effects, Noise Reduction, Capture Noise Reduction Profile. And this is just letting me know it's about to capture it. And there it goes. Now, that noise profile has been captured and it will be used the next time I decide I want to apply noise reduction. And just so you can see what that's going to do, notice the little bumps that are in the waveform. Now I'm going to say Effects, Noise Reduction, Noise Reduction. And it's already captured this profile. This, what you're seeing here, is the profile of that noise. And I'm going to leave everything at its default and just say OK. Now, if you notice, these lines no longer have bumps in them, because it's basically taken that noise profile and removed anything that sounded like that particular noise. Now the beautiful thing about this is we can apply that even to the vocal part, where we can't really hear the noise because the vocals are louder than the noise, but wherever there might be a little gap here and there and the noise might leak through, for example, maybe even here at the end, we should be able to clean that up. So I'm going to say Effects, Noise Reduction, Noise Reduction. And there's, once again, is the profile, and I'm going to say OK. And it's processing it. And it's done. And you can see that the noise at the end of the WAV file is now also gone. And if we listen to it, we'll hear that it really hasn't been affected a lot as far as making it any worse.
I swear these fake rap cats fuck around with genetics, cosmetically cloning other MCs, just pathetic.
And it's a little bit cleaner actually. So now that we have that, we have what's pretty much a very good starting point. But there's a couple of other things that I want to do to improve it a little. And probably the first thing is to compress it a little bit. And now I could compress this in, let's say, FL Studio. If I was mixing it with one of my beats, it'd be done within FL Studio, and I could compress it in there. But the advantage of doing it outside is that I kind of can make sure that I get a good compression out of it without any clipping. And I'll show you what I mean right now. I'm going to go ahead and apply some compression, and let me find a vocal compression. And the output, again, this is just to exaggerate what I'm trying to explain. I'm going to output it by 24 dB. I'm going to increase the output by 24 dB after the compression. Now I've seen a lot of files look very similar to this. And you can see it's almost like It's a solid blob of information, and that's not good. Now, while I may play this, and it's going to sound nice and loud,
I swear these fake grab cats fuck around with genetics, cosmetically cloning other MCs. Just pathetic.
that's, I mean, yeah, great. Okay, it's loud. But you can see that the waveforms are clipping, and that means that they're going up over the 0 point. And whatever goes over the 0 point gets lost. You cannot usually recover that sound, and it's like, look at this one. A lot of these peaks have been clipped. We don't want that. That's not good for your sound. So what I'm going to do is when I compress this, I'm going to do it very safely. And the way you do that safely is you just take off any output compensation. So if I go back to my vocal compressor, and instead of compressing it by 12 dB, I'm going to just compress it to 0. So it's just going to compress the file and then leave it alone. It's not going to compress it and then increase the output. So when I say OK, you can see now, okay, now it's compressed, and you may even notice that it's a lot more even. The peaks are a lot more even, but they're definitely not clipping. So now I can go ahead and do some kind of amplification to it, like I can normalize it, or I can hard limit it to bring it up. And I'm just going to normalize it right now. And you can see that now it's a lot beefier than it used to be. And now if I play this,
I swear these fake grab cats fuck around with genetics, cosmetically cloning other MCs. Just pathetic.
you can hear that it's pretty clean, and it's loud as well. And that's what we're going for. Now at this point I could save it and then drop it in FL Studio or whatever software I'm going to use to mix it. And at this point I would save this as a new file. Always keep your original file, and then when you affect the file and do something with it, save it. And then maybe you could even notate in the file name what you've done. So for example, I might say save as, and then I'm going to call it, make it a WAV file. And the name of the WAV file, I might just leave the original name and then add to it. For example, compressed with noise reduction or something like that, and then hit enter and then save it. And that way I know kind of what I did to it. But if you do it this way, and you have a lot of other vocals you want to prepare, follow the same basic routine to get them all approximately the same before you mix them all into whatever you're going to be using them. Now there's a lot of other effects you might want to do with vocals, like doubling them. There's stereo separation. There's, like I said, there's more reverb. There's echo. There's a lot of effects you can do beyond this. But this is kind of like the starting point. In other words, now you have a loud, clean take with which you can do anything else you want to do. And you could even change it here in Adobe Audition and just save it with another file name. Maybe you want it to have a telephone filter effect or some other thing. You can do that. But, always save your versions of it so you can always go back and in case you make a mistake. And also, if you're an MC, any good producer is going to want to have something that's either the raw file, in other words, the take as you made it without any effect, or something similar to what I've done where I've done very little to it. Any producer that's going to be mixing it down, or an engineer that's going to be mixing it, that's pretty much what they're going to want from you. So be aware of that. If you're an MC, record clean, try to be consistent, and try to give your producer something that he can work with and manipulate himself, and you keep your original safe and sound. So I think that's it for how to prepare your vocals. And in the next tutorial that may be out by the time you see this, or if not, will be coming up shortly, is how to mix an acapella and find the beat the tempo and some other goodies. So stay tuned for that if you haven't seen it yet. And don't forget to check out my website, www.warbeats.com. I've got over 30 tutorials in video format that I've made, some guest tutorials from other people. And we've got a message board there. I've got probably almost 200 files for download. Most of them are remake projects in FL Studio and or Reason format. And by remakes, I mean of known songs that you would hear on the radio. Just come and see what my site has to offer. It's free, so you do have to sign up and make an account, but there's no charge, and you can watch and download the files and participate in the message boards. So hope to see you there, and in the meantime, this is NFX signing out, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.